Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Veterans Day breakfast we're doing here on Monday the 8th. My name is Tim White. I'm the Veterans Agent for the town of Hanson. I want to welcome Selectman Jim Hickey, I see in the crowd. I don't know if anybody else from town leadership is here, but I want to thank the veterans and family members for attending today. First thing I'd like to do is, if we could, stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you can't stand, just put your hand over your heart and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance all together anyway. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I didn't know when they hired me that I'd have a public speaking gig. Put the pressure on. Of course, I had 3 cups of coffee this morning, so I got a little shakes. And of course, we eat food before we start doing this, so good luck. First, I'd like to recognize it's been 2 years since we last gathered here for a Veterans Day brunch. And in everybody's lives, at some point, maybe a family member or something like that has been impacted by COVID. And it's really altered our lives for the past couple of years. Public gatherings, public places, whether you're wearing a mask or not, and all the things that we've been through. In my position, I don't know all of you how COVID has impacted you on an individual basis, but in my position, I am working with dozens and more than dozens of veterans, surviving spouses, the widows and so forth, and numerous scores of people from our community and surrounding communities have been impacted by COVID, as the whole country has. To this date, greater than 750,000 Americans have died due to COVID. So in one way, shape, or form, you've been impacted by it. And whether it's a business thing but on a personal level, the folks that we couldn't even see and attend funerals because they had a 10-person visit at a funeral home, the sadness is that they died alone, and there's a lot of pain there, and a lot of people are kind of making up for lost time and reconnecting with their families. So I'd like to, just because we've been here, this is the first time in a couple of years, I'd like to have those people in our thoughts and prayers. I'd also like, and I'll be reading something as well, keep in mind thoughts and prayers for the POWs and the MIAs and the KIAs, who still haven't been repatriated to home. And also keep in mind, I was with a Gold Star family member yesterday. Keep in mind the Gold Star family members for those that are here living and, feeling that pain. So if you would, I'd please ask that we'd all do a moment of silence for all those people in our thoughts. Thank you. So as far as a ceremony, in the past I've kind of formalized things, and I've had different things to read. I have several things to read. I haven't formalized any comments, but I am going to read several things that I think are appropriate for Veterans Day. And So I'll start off by reading the governor's proclamation first. From the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a proclamation. Whereas since the Commonwealth's colonial days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty. And whereas on November 11th, 1918, the armistice was signed in the forest of Compiègne by the Allied nations in Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars, after 4 years of conflict. And whereas since that day, every November, people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans. And whereas there are approximately 388,000 veterans living in Massachusetts, and whereas today we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions our veterans have made to our country, and whereas we honor and salute those who have served our country throughout the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage, and whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who served their country so that their dedication and sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. And whereas in November 2021, the world will commemorate the 103rd anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m., November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Now, therefore, I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2021 to be Veterans Day, and urge all citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of the event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston, this 11th day of November in the year 2021, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 245th, by His Excellency Charles D. Baker, Governor of Massachusetts, Karen E. Polito, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth, and William Francis Galvin, Secretary of the Commonwealth. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So something that I had mentioned earlier, this is something that I tend to do as an opportunity to remember the POW and the MIAs. And Veterans Day and Memorial Day are separate days. And Memorial Day, we're thinking about those who have gone before us and died. You know, Veterans Day, it's about all the veterans, living and past, but we're trying to, it's celebratory. But it's an opportunity for me, what I do is try to reconnect and remember the POW and the MIA. So what I would like to do is I'm going to read a newspaper report from back in September, and this is from the Cape Cod Times, written by Denise Coffey, was the reporter. And it's about, the title is, "This Korean War Soldier Was MIA for 70 Years. His Remains Return Home for Burial in Bourne." The official U.S. Army photograph of First Lieutenant Thomas Redgate shows a smiling 24-year-old, a service cap crowning his head, a tan tie, and a shirt beneath his dress uniform. He was a Brighton boy gone off to fight in Korea. He never came home during that war, but his remains were finally flown to Boston on Tuesday, this is back in September, more than 7 decades later, fulfilling a wish that his mother had held on to until the day she died in 1970. Her son will be interred, again back in September, at the National Cemetery in Bourne. And Redgate's name will finally be removed from a memorial there to members of the military who were declared missing in action. Redgate enlisted as a private in the Enlisted Reserve Corps and was called to active duty in April 1944. He was an airplane and engine mechanic until his honorable discharge in November 1945. Redgate re-enlisted in 1948. He was a member of Battery A, 48th Field Artillery Battalion, 7th Infantry Division. His unit was on the eastern side of the Chosin Reservoir in North Korea when they were attacked by Chinese and North Korean forces on November 27, 1950. U.S. military leaders were confident that troops would reach China's border, retaking the whole Korean peninsula by Christmas of that year. But the Battle of Chosin Reservoir turned the tide of war in North Korea's favor. Chinese troops outnumbered and surrounded U.S. forces at Chosin. Fighting in frigid temperatures, in mountainous terrain, with even their retreats blocked, U.S. troops were nearly annihilated, according to the U.S. Marine Corps Forces Korea website. The Battle of Chosin left 1,029 U.S. troops dead. 4,582 were wounded, 4,894 missing, according to the website. Redgate was pronounced missing on December 11th, 1950. The Army declared him presumptively dead in 1953. It wasn't until April 16, 2020, almost 70 years after he went missing in action, that his remains were identified by analysts with the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, known as DPAA, in Hawaii. The remains of thousands of U.S. troops still lay scattered throughout North Korea. According to the DPAA, 7,555 U.S. troops are still unaccounted for. 5,729 of that number are Army troops. Redgate's casketed remains finally came home to Boston back in September. Some of Redgate's extended family members were on hand for the arrival at Boston Logan International Airport. Peter Bloniarz, Redgate's oldest nephew, and the family member recognized by the Army protocol as the lead family representative, called it an honor to welcome his uncle home. For us, it's a privilege to be able to do something our parents couldn't do, he said. Imagine losing your youngest son. It was a black hole for the family. A 7-member Army military funeral honors team was at Logan Airport to carry out the dignified transfer. 2 soldiers in battle dress uniform went into the belly of the plane, prepared the casket, draped an American flag over it, and removed it from the hold, according to team member Sergeant Jeffrey Hyde. Being in casualty operations, it's the honor of my life to assist families of the fallen, Hyde said. The team placed the casket in a hearse, and accompanied by a motorcade, Redgate's remains were taken for one final ride through his old neighborhoods. Led by the Massachusetts State Police, the motorcade included members of the Boston Police and Rolling Thunder, a group advocating for the full accounting of U.S. prisoners of war and those still missing in action, according to the nephew, Andrew Redgate. The motorcade stopped at a family home at 395 Bunker Hill Street in Charlestown, Heroes Square in Brighton, and 27 Mapleton Street in Brighton, where Redgate had grown up. Andrew Redgate said in a phone call that people were at each location paying their respects and waving flags. The Bunker Hill home was the location of many family reunions. There must have been 400 people in front of the house, Andrew Redgate said. They included firefighters, police officers, military personnel, Korean War veterans, families, and toddlers. Traffic was blocked off. It couldn't have been more touching, Andrew Redgate said. From there, the motorcade went to Hero Square in Brighton, then down Mapleton Street past Thomas Redgate's family's home. There were well-wishers at each stop waving flags. Fire engines hung oversized American flags over the roadways. Redgate's casket was finally brought to Lehman Reen McNamara Funeral Home in Brighton. Members of the Boston University ROTC, as well as the Massachusetts Military Honor Guard, were scheduled to stand guard during his wake back in September. Redgate had 2 brothers, 1 sister, 2 nephews, and 1 niece at the time he went missing in action. Irene Bloniarz was the eldest sibling in the family, was married, and her son Peter was only 3 years old. Peter Bloniarz doesn't remember his uncle, but he remembers his mother keeping a photo of him on her bureau. It was a significant loss for her. His grandmother never gave up hope that Redgate's remains would eventually be returned. She held out hope until the day she died. 51 years after her death in 1970, her wishes have finally been granted. Andrew Redgate called watching his uncle's flag-draped coffin received by the Military Honor Guard moving. It was so solemn, he said. To see it conveyed off the plane and transported to the hearse was so surreal. It was a realization that after 70 years, he's home. We are so incredibly fortunate that we received word. He urged people to support MIA families and to support all efforts to identify the remains of individuals still unaccounted for. And never forget what Tommy and others have done for their country, he said. 50 million people in the Republic of Korea were able to live wonderful lives because Tommy and thousands others. First, Lieutenant Redgate is survived by his sister-in-law, Eleanor Hearn Redgate, and his siblings, 10 children, and their families. And it goes on to say, in September, the interment will be in the Massachusetts National Cemetery in Bourne. Redgate's name is currently recorded on the Courts of the Missing at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific in Honolulu, Hawaii. Now that he has been accounted for, a rosette will be placed next to his name there. His name will also be removed from the MIA Memorial at the Bourne Cemetery. So, and that's the end of the story. I'd just like to recall it. You know, it's Cape Cod Times, and I'm not sure how many are privy, if you don't see it on the news on a particular night, or if it's not reported in the local paper, or, you know, however it is. And here it is a couple months later. It's just an opportunity to reflect on somebody being repatriated and is back home. So I thank you for listening to that story. One other thing I'd like to read, I actually have two other things. I'm going to read a proclamation. I don't know if you saw me, I presented this to the selectmen on TV a couple weeks ago, or something like that. But what this is, if you didn't happen to catch the local cable channel, this is something we've been working on for several months. And what it is, from the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Town of Hanson, Massachusetts proclamation as a Purple Heart community. Whereas the people of Hanson, Mass. have great admiration and the utmost gratitude for all the citizens of the community who have selflessly served in the armed forces that has been vital in maintaining the freedom and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas citizens of our community have been killed in action while serving in the armed forces and have been posthumously awarded the Purple Heart for their ultimate sacrifice. And whereas citizens of our community have been awarded the Purple Heart for their bodily sacrifice of being wounded by the hand of the enemy while engaged in combat. And whereas the Purple Heart is the oldest American military decoration and was created as the badge of military merit, made of purple cloth in the shape of a heart with the word merit sewn upon it, on August 7th, 1782, in Newburgh, New York, by General George Washington, then reestablished as the Purple Heart on February 22nd, 1932, by General Douglas MacArthur. And whereas the heritage it represents is sacred to those who know the price paid to wear the Purple Heart. And whereas August 7th is nationally recognized as Purple Heart Day, and now, therefore, be it proclaimed, we, the Hanson Board of Selectmen, hereby proclaim Hanson, Massachusetts, a Purple Heart community, honoring the service and sacrifice of those from our community who were awarded the Purple Heart while serving in our nation's wars. And Also, be it proclaimed that Hanson, Massachusetts will recognize August 7th annually as Purple Heart Day and urge our citizens and organizations to display the American flag as well as other public expressions of recognition of our Purple Heart recipients. And this was signed by Kenneth Mitchell, Chair, Board of Selectmen, back in March. So we started this. So I wanted to report to you that Hanson is now recognized as a Purple Heart community. And what took so long was the making of street signs. So I just wanted to show everybody. So it took a while, but we're getting there. I'm going to order more of these, and we'll figure out at the entrances to the town where they'll be posted. The highway department's helping me out, post them. So it's a work in progress, and so I just wanted to report that to you all for this Veterans Day brunch. I have one more thing to read, but before I get to that, I will couple of announcements I'd like to make just to make sure you're all aware of certain things. On Thursday, this Veterans Day, in Abington, there is a Veterans Day parade for Abington, Whitman, Rockland, but you're more than welcome to attend. It'll be at Central Street and Washington Street in Abington at 10 a.m. So I just wanted to let you know that. Something else that I touched on, COVID-19, I have masks here that represent each military service. And if you're interested, I would love to pass out some masks to you because, as I recently learned, if you still travel in a bus, plane, train, you have to wear masks. And then, plus each person's personal comfort level, if they want to wear a mask, they're going to wear a mask. So if you're interested, I have each service represented here, so whatever service that you're associated with, I'm more than willing. I'd love to give you masks. So hopefully we only have to deal with this for another, 4, 5, 6 months, and then after that, we'll, be at herd immunity. As I just mentioned, the Purple Heart, just something to think about. From my position as a veterans agent, I don't have a list of who has been awarded the Purple Heart. And veterans discharge paperwork, the DD-214 is an imperfect document. It doesn't necessarily list that you've been awarded the Purple Heart. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, veterans may receive the Purple Heart posthumously, or they'll receive it after service. All of a sudden it gets mailed to them because they were recognized for something that happened while in service. So I don't have, a list of veterans that have been awarded the Purple Heart. But in your social circles, if you know of folks that have been awarded the Purple Heart, please have them reach out to me. I would like to be connected with them and maybe try to generate some type of log of those who have been awarded the Purple Heart, and to try and think of something as we approach August 7th of next year to honor their sacrifice in an appropriate way. So it's just something to think of that I just wanted to pass out for the community's involvement and help. One thing too, in the job that I do, there's so many guys and gals, but mostly guys, that they suffer injuries and they're not recognized with a Purple Heart, based on the circumstances of in service of what happened to them and how it went about. I deal with many soldiers and sailors that have TBI, traumatic brain injury, and the Humvee was hit or something like that, and they're injured at the time, but they still maintain the mission. They're just following orders, doing what shake it off or something like that, and keep on going. And if they don't see a corpsman, or a medic at the time, and there's protocols to try and understand, how concussed you are and if you can continue moving forward. If they don't see that, if they just keep on going, it's never recorded. And they're never recorded as being injured. And then, people I deal with, they have severe injuries. And it's amazing to me that they were in service and this stuff wasn't recorded in service. So it's just something to be aware of. There's a lot of injuries out there that are unseen. And then, obviously there's PTSD and so forth. But in your own lives, social circles, friends, family members, nieces, nephews, whoever you know, if you know the veterans in your life, make sure they're connected with somebody like me at their town, all right, veterans agent, or the VA. And I do want to pass on the VA, all the hundreds of people that I have dealt with. Honestly, in 4 years of representing Hanson, I've heard 2 negative comments about the VA health system, and they were really, kind of minor, that they were forced to go to a place that was maybe 50 miles away and that type of thing, and they were frustrated with it. But other than that, everybody else has been just ecstatic really found the VA folks very helpful in their lives. And so they passed on praise about their health care that they were receiving to me. So I haven't heard too many negatives. I've heard mostly positive. So I just wanted to report that. All right, one other thing that I'd like to finish with, and then from me, I think we're transitioning to the swinging singers for some patriotic medleys as we finish. But I have one other thing to read. Just bear with me for a second. So I'm reading, this is called Old Glory, and it is as if I am the flag. I'm reading it in the first person, as if I am the flag. And this will be the final thing that I read. I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshiped. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. I am loved, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Tarawa, Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, and scores of places long forgotten by all, except by those who were there with me. I was there. I led my sailors and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill on Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my sailors and Marines cheered me, and I was proud. I was at Ground Zero in New York City on September 11th as cowardly fanatics attacked America. I was raised from the ashes of once proud buildings by brave firefighters, heroes, who risked their lives to save others, showing all that America, although bloodied, will never be beaten. For those who would destroy me cannot win, For I am a symbol of freedom, of one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country. And when it is by those whom I have served with in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the surely bonds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontiers of space. I have been a silent witness to all of America's finest hours. By my finest hour comes when I am torn into strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly half-mast to honor my soldiers, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the grave site of her fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God. Long may I wave. And with that, I will conclude. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you very much. Thank you to Mary. Thank you. Who provided the food, Mary?
I would like to thank our Friends group, the Friends of the Senior Center.
Awesome. Thank you to the Friends of the Senior Center. Thank you. I want to thank all those for coming today and enjoy Veterans Day on the 10th, Marine Corps birthday. So happy birthday to the USMC. And other than that, I'm gonna roll it over to the swinging singers.
We're going to start singing for you. I want you to know, all your veterans, that we are so proud to be here today to sing for you and to honor you for all that you've done for us and for the United States. So please, we're going to start with the Star Spangled Banner and go right through this program for you. So I hope that you enjoy this program, and we are so honored to be here. Thank you. Okay. Ready? Yeah. Stand up. Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, who from bright and bright stars drove the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watch, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, sailors and star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We also like to do a lot of the songs that people never sing anymore. So the next one is You're a Grand Old Flag. And please, if you want to, please join in with us. Ready? Ready? Yeah. You're a grand old flag.
You're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true by the red, white, and blue, and there's never a boast or pride. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
to honor each individual service members. And we're going to start with the Navy. Anybody here from the Navy, please stand up.
Anchors aweigh, my boys, anchors aweigh. Farewell to college tours, we sail on break of day. Through our last night ashore, drink to the full, until we meet once more. Is wishing you a happy voyage home.
Thank you for your service. Glad to have you here today. Army, all people stand up for the Army. Glad to have you here today.
In over Dale we have hit the ocean trail, and those caissons go rolling along. In and out, hear them shout, countermount right above, and those caissons go rolling along. Then it's high, high, in the field artillery, stand up your numbers high and strong. Wherever you go, we will always know that those caissons are rolling along. Keep them rolling, that those caissons are rolling along.
Thank you for your service. Next is the Marines. Any Marines here? Well, we will stand up for the Marines.
Sister of a Marine.
Wife of a Marine. There you go. Okay? Okay. From the halls of Montezuma
To the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air and land and sea. Yes, we fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines.
Army Air Corps. Air Force.
How many Air Force brats?
Go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sky. Here they come, if you need our thunder, and the boys, give 'em the gun, give 'em the gun. And we love running a flame from under, what we want, terrible roar. We live in faith, go down in flames. Hey, nothing can stop the Army Air Corps. Thank you for your service. Okay. Now we go to the Coast Guard. Any Coast Guards here? That's you? All right.
We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through howling gales and shout to win our victory. Stand apparatus is our guide, our pledge, our motto too. We're always ready to do or die. Hey, Coast Guard, we fight for you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, here's a beautiful song, and we're going to sing all of the verses today, and it's America the Beautiful. Yeah, nice and slow.
Oh, beautiful forest.
we put in that just, we thought that would be nice just to sing. And please join us. Let there be peace on earth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with my brothers in perfect harmony. Let days begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Next one is Born Free. And this is for everybody, but it's also for animals. Because they're killing all our elephants and everything else, so we're singing this for the whole country. Okay, ready?
Born free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart. Live free while beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you each time you look at the stars. Stay free where no one divides you. You're free as the roaring tide, so things don't need to hide. Born free, and life is worth living, but only worth living if you're born free.
Now, I have to give my chorus. I really have to stand up and applaud them. I got this song exactly 1 week ago. Some of them, they've all heard it, but really didn't know all of the verses to it. And I want to honor now everybody that has been in the Vietnam War and in every war. And I'd like to sing this for you, and I know my chorus does a beautiful job. Proud to be American. It's one of the newest songs. If tomorrow all these things were gone, I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right for me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from the sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. With pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm proud And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right for me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right for me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Our last song is God Bless America. And I'd like all of you to join us if possible. And we, like I said, we're very, very happy to honor you today, all of us. And we're very proud to have it be in our Beck, Jim, and our chorus. Okay, God bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountain to the prairie, through the ocean, right with home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean, right with home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. I bow to my chorus. Thank you very, very much. Wonderful, wonderful.
Good job. Good job, everyone.
Now, give up your flag.